Hey everyone, before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my latest stories. Catering staff this way, ma'am, the security guard at the Ritz-Carlton penthouse entrance said, pointing toward the service corridor without even glancing at me. His tone had that dismissive edge, the kind that made it feel like I was late for a shift serving hors d'oeuvres. Little did he know, pressed between my phone and lipstick in my purse, was the key card that marked me as the penthouse owner and CEO of the Castellano Hotel Group, the very company that owned this Ritz-Carlton, 16 other luxury hotels across North America, and this very floor where the engagement party was about to take place. What the security guard and certainly my future daughter-in-law, Ninsley Whitmore, along with her high society family, didn't realize was that the embarrassing mother they had relegated to the kitchen was actually their landlord for the evening. And to make matters even more delicious, I had just overheard Ninsley telling her mother exactly what she thought of me. But let's rewind 3 hours, because context matters. My name is Diana Castellano. I'm 54, founder and CEO of Castellano Hotel Group. I started 30 years ago with a struggling motel I bought for $180,000 and grew it into a luxury hotel empire worth $1.2 billion. Forbes covered me last year. I've spoken at industry conferences as a keynote. I employ 4,200 people. My son, Michael, knows all of this. He grew up watching me build the business, witnessing the sacrifices, understanding the grind. He was proud of my achievements, or so I thought, until he met a Ninsley Whitmore. The Whitmores are old money through and through, railroad barons, steel magnates, estates in Connecticut, a summer cottage in Martha's Vineyard, and social networks that unlocked doors I had to break down myself. Ninsley went to Choate and Yale and works in philanthropy, which, from what I can tell, mostly involves attending charity galas and sitting on boards. Michael met her at a friend's wedding 18 months ago. Brilliant, kind, not from her world. He told me he was serious about her, and I was thrilled. Then I met the family. Our first dinner was at their Connecticut estate. I drove up from New York in my Mercedes, dressed in a sleek Armani suit. Professional, understated, making an effort. Catherine Whitmore greeted me at the door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Diana, how wonderful to finally meet you. Michael has told us so much about his working mother. Working mother. Like it was a diagnosis. The dinner was a trial by fire. Bradford Whitmore III asked what I did. I explained I owned a hotel company. Oh, like a bed and breakfast? Catherine asked. No, luxury hotels. 17 properties across North America. How charming, Bradford said. Diana runs hotels. Like that show, with the staff drama. They genuinely thought I was a manager, not the owner of a multi-billion-dollar company. When I tried to clarify, Ninsley cut me off. Mother, let's not talk business at dinner. It's so tedious. Clear message. I was beneath them, and my work wasn't worth mentioning. Michael tried to defend me, but Ninsley squeezed his hand and changed the topic to their upcoming engagement party. We're thinking the Ritz-Carlton penthouse, she announced. Daddy's friend is on the board, so we can secure it. I stayed calm. Nothing, I noted internally. The Ritz-Carlton she referred to was mine. I had acquired it 6 years prior as a distressed asset and spent $40 million transforming it into the crown jewel of my portfolio. Sounds lovely, I said politely. Planning continued over the next few months. Ninsley made it clear, without saying it outright, that my presence was considered an embarrassment. Invitations went out. Her family, 150 guests, my side, me, and maybe one guest if I wished. Our guest list is very curated, she explained when Michael tried to argue. Important people, business connections for her father, social connections for her. She couldn't invite my friends. They weren't the right kind. Michael was stuck in the middle. He adored Ninsley, but was starting to see how his future in-laws truly viewed his mother. Maybe you could talk to them, he asked me last week. Explain about your company. They don't understand. I had to be gentle. They've made up their minds, Michael. They've decided who I am. I'm successful in a way they don't respect. I work for my money. To them, that makes it worth less. And that brings us to tonight. I arrived at the Ritz-Carlton at 6:30 p.m. for the 7 o'clock party, wearing a custom midnight blue Valentino gown, elegant, expensive, undeniable. My jewelry was simple, yet unmistakably genuine. I looked the part of someone attending a high-end engagement celebration. Yet the moment the security guard at the penthouse entrance saw me, he motioned toward the service corridor. "Excuse me," I said. "Catering staff entrance is that way." "You should have checked in downstairs," he replied. "I'm not part of the catering staff. I'm a guest." He flipped through his list, his finger tracing the names. "What's your name?" "Diana Castellano." He paused, scanning the page, frowning. "I don't see your name here." "That's impossible. I'm the groom's mother." His expression shifted, first confusion, then a pitying softness. "Ma'am, maybe there's been a mistake. Let me call the event coordinator upstairs." "That won't be necessary," a voice cut in. I turned to see Ninsley herself, glowing in a champagne-colored gown, walking down the hallway with her mother. "Diana," Ninsley's voice rang with a polished sweetness. "You made it. We were just going over the seating arrangements." "There seems to be a mix-up," I said. "The security guard thinks I'm catering staff." Catherine laughed, a delicate tinkling sound that made my teeth clench. "Oh, that's understandable. Your dress is practical. Not everyone has a flair for formal events." "My $8,000 Valentino gown practical?" "About the seating," Ninsley went on, sliding her arm through mine in a gesture meant to be friendly, but feeling more like a restraining grip. "We've had to make some adjustments. The main reception area is packed with important guests, but we prepared a lovely spot for you in the service area near the kitchen. You'll be comfortable and out of the way." I raised a brow. Catherine's smile tightened. "We're just being considerate. Away from all the social obligations, you'll be more relaxed. These events can be so performative." Then I heard it. Ninsley speaking softly to her mother, oblivious that I was close enough to catch every word. "Don't worry, Mother. I've placed Michael's embarrassing mother in the kitchen, where no one will see her. We can't have her mingling with Daddy's business associates. Imagine that." Catherine laughed. "Good thinking, darling. Just get through tonight. Then you can start shaping Michael's family expectations." I stood frozen, leaning against the hallway corner, a cold weight settling in my chest. They weren't merely dismissive. They were deliberately hiding me. That was when I decided to play along. "The kitchen area sounds perfect," I said to Ninsley, smiling warmly. "Very thoughtful of you." Her relief was palpable. "Wonderful. The party starts at 7 o'clock. Someone will escort you." A server led me through the service corridors to a small table near the kitchen entrance. A white tablecloth, a single-place setting, like quarantine. From my vantage point, I could glimpse the main penthouse through a service window. The party was magnificent. My events team had truly outdone themselves. Chandeliers, towering floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, flowing champagne, a string quartet. At the center of it all, Michael, my son, handsome in his tuxedo, greeting guests, laughing alongside Ninsley's friends. I pulled out my phone and texted Patricia Vance, my director of hotel operations. "Patricia, I'm at the penthouse party. Could you join me and bring Thomas?" Her reply was instant: "On our way." While I waited, I observed the party through the service window. Catherine Whitmore was in her element, presenting a Ninsley to elderly men in bespoke suits. Bradford Whitmore III, her father, laughed among a cluster of guests at the bar. And Michael, he glanced around intermittently, clearly searching for me. 10 minutes later, Patricia arrived with Thomas Graham, the Ritz-Carlton building manager. "Miss Castellano," Patricia said, eyes narrowing at the sight of me by the kitchen, barely hiding her fury. "What's going on?" "I'm at my son's engagement party," I replied smoothly. "And as you can see, I've been given the VIP treatment." Thomas looked through the service window at the main event. "That's the Whitmore event. They booked the penthouse 6 months ago, paid the $50,000 rental fee." "Interesting," I murmured. "Patricia, remind me, since when did we institute a policy of seating guests near the kitchen?" "We didn't." "That's not," she stopped, realization dawning. "Miss Castellano, did they place you here on purpose?" I nodded slightly. "My future daughter-in-law decided it would be better if I remained invisible to the prominent guests. She called me embarrassing." Patricia's expression went through a rapid sequence of emotions. "What would you like us to do?" Nothing yet. But it's time the owner makes an appearance. Thomas, could you inform the Whitmores that I'd like a word? The hotel owner needs to discuss an important matter regarding their event. Thomas's smile was almost mischievous. 5 minutes later, Bradford Whitmore III appeared in the service corridor, looking irritated. Catherine trailed behind him. This is highly irregular, Bradford said. We're in the middle of what could be so urgent that the hotel management. He froze as his eyes landed on me. Good evening, Mr. Whitmore, I said, standing tall. I'm Diana Castellano, CEO and owner of Castellano Hotel Group. We own this Ritz-Carlton, along with 16 other properties. I understand you rented our penthouse for an engagement party. Color drained from his face. Catherine's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. I continued, calm and poised. I'm simply trying to understand why I've been placed in the service corridor at my own son's engagement party, while the actual venue is filled with your guests. Diana, I didn't realize we thought, Bradford stammered. You thought I was what? I asked evenly. A struggling single mother. Michael should have felt embarrassed by someone he thought he could trust. Catherine finally found her voice. We didn't know you owned this, she said. Michael never mentioned it. Michael had assumed that, no matter her net worth, you would treat his mother with respect. Apparently, that had been too hopeful. Patricia stood at my side, tablet in hand. Miss Castellano, should I cancel the Whitmore reservation? We can refund the deposit and relocate their event. Cancel, Catherine's voice shrilled. We have 150 guests arriving at a venue you're renting from me, I said firmly. And now I have to decide if I even want to continue hosting an event where I've been deliberately sidelined. Bradford tried to smooth things over. Diana, this is clearly a misunderstanding. Ansley was just trying to... Yes, I interrupted, my voice steady. I heard her. She said I was embarrassing and needed to be kept out of sight of your important friends. Ansley appeared then, noticing her parents' absence. Her confident smile faltered when she saw me standing with my staff in the service corridor. What's going on? She asked. Your future mother-in-law, her father said tightly, owns this hotel. Ansley's face went pale. The hotel where you're hosting your party, I clarified. The one where you seated me in the kitchen because you were embarrassed by me? I didn't, she stammered, glancing nervously between her parents and me. Michael never said you owned hotels, Catherine pointed out. He said I worked in hospitality. You assumed that meant I was just a hotel manager or desk clerk. You never bothered to ask. Michael appeared behind Ansley, taking in the scene. Mom, what's happening? He asked, his voice tight with confusion. My brilliant, kind son, engaged to a woman who wanted to hide his mother. Michael, did you know Ansley seated me in the service corridor for your engagement party? I asked. His expression shifted from confusion to horror. What? No, Mom. You were supposed to be at table 3. There is no table 3 for her, Ansley whispered. I moved her, she admitted. I thought she couldn't finish. You thought what? Michael's voice was dangerously quiet. That your mother wasn't appropriate for our guest list, she murmured. The silence was crushing. My mother, Michael said slowly, built a billion-dollar company from nothing. She put me through MIT. She's been profiled in Forbes. And you thought she wasn't appropriate. I didn't know, Ansley said weakly. You didn't ask, he said sharply, voice rising. You met my mother, decided she was beneath you, and never tried to learn anything about her. Bradford tried to intervene. Son, let's all calm down. I'm not your son, Michael said flatly. Then, turning to Ansley, is this who you are? Someone who judges people by their pedigree and hides them when they don't measure up. Michael, please, Ansley reached for him. He stepped back. I need to think about this. He walked away, leaving Ansley in tears. I looked at the Whitmores, Bradford's smugness crumbling, Catherine's social mask slipping, Ansley crying. Here's what's going to happen, I said calmly. Your party will continue. You paid for the space, and I honor contracts. But after tonight, Ansley, we need to have a serious conversation about whether you actually want to marry my son. Because if you're ashamed of where he comes from, this marriage will fail. I'm not ashamed, Ansley protested. You seated his mother in the kitchen at his engagement party in a hotel she owns. What else would you call that? I turned to Patricia. Escort me to the main party. I want to greet my son's guests properly. We entered the penthouse, me in my Valentino gown, Patricia impeccably suited by my side. Conversation stopped. I saw Michael near the windows, his face lighting up when he saw me. He rushed over and hugged me tightly. "I'm so sorry, Mom," he whispered. "Not your fault. I should have made sure they understood. You shouldn't have to prove your worth. They should see it." We stood together, looking out at the city lights, while behind us the party resumed its polite chatter. Ansley approached, mascara smudged. "Diana, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was so wrong." I looked at her, really looked. She was young, raised in privilege that taught her to value the wrong things. "Ansley, I'll tell you something your mother never did. Where someone comes from matters far less than where they're going. I came from nothing. I built something. That doesn't make me less than you. It makes me someone who understands the value of work. Do you understand that, or do you just see my wealth and decide I'm acceptable?" She flinched. "That's not fair, is it? If I were just a hotel manager, would you still be apologizing? Or would I still be in the kitchen?" She had no answer. Michael took my hand. "Mom, can we go? I don't want to be here anymore." We left together, mother and son. Walking out of the party I had hosted in the building I owned, leaving Ansley and her family to explain to 150 guests why the groom had abandoned his own engagement party. In the car, Michael admitted, "I don't know if I can marry her." "That's between you and Ansley," I said, looking at him. "But never let anyone make you ashamed of where you came from. You're not embarrassing, you're extraordinary. And so am I. I know, Mom. I've always known." 2 weeks later, Michael ended the engagement. The Whitmore family tried to save it, even offering to pay for the wedding. But Michael had seen something he couldn't unsee. Who Ansley became when she thought no one was watching. 6 months later, Michael met Sophia, a teacher who asked a million questions about the hotel business and called me inspiring. When they got engaged, we had a small party at my Westchester home. No one was seated in the kitchen. I realized something that night at the Ritz-Carlton. People who treat you like help when they think you're struggling are the same ones who fawn over you once they see your success. True character shows itself when there's nothing to gain. Ansley Whitmore saw a working mother and decided I was embarrassing. She never saw the CEO, the empire builder, the woman who fought for every dollar. That was never my failure, it was hers. And when you own the building, you never have to sit in the